2022, the Lake Jackson City Council meeting, regular session, starting at 6:30 p.m. Tonight, we're going to have Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Seth.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And we'll have the invocation by Councilman Buell.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for another wonderful, beautiful day and an opportunity to gather here again this evening. And as our meeting progresses and we are dealt with issues, please give us the strength, confidence, and courage to do what we feel is the best interest of our city and our residents. We ask that you be with our armed forces, stateside and abroad, our EMS first offenders. We also, Lord, ask you to be with the families of Rex Cade and Alice Rogers. Rex passed away Saturday and Mr. Rogers passed away yesterday afternoon. Be with them, help them through this difficult time. And as we leave, Lord, and drive with us and get us home safely. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next item is visitors' comments. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience that has an item that they would like to discuss with council or bring to council that is not on the regular agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to declaration of conflict of interest. This is an opportunity for members of City Council to declare any kind of conflict concerning any item on the consent or regular agenda. Is there any kind of conflict to declare? Hearing none, we'll move on to consent agenda. We have item 1, approval of minutes, March 21, 2022. Approve TxDOT multi-use agreement, Form 2044. And item 3 is resolution approving budget amendment to transfer 2021 utility operating and general operating savings to the utilities project fund and general project funds. Does any member of council like to remove any item for further discussion? If not, I will take a motion.
Make a motion, Mayor, to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 3 as written.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, move on to regular agenda. Item 1 has been removed from the agenda for tonight, per the request of the citizen. We have item 2, which is approve 2021 annual comprehensive financial report. Kevin.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Kevin Cadenhead. I'm a partner with KM&L, CPA firm here in Lake Jackson. We've had the opportunity again this year to serve as the external auditors. And I'm going to spend just a few minutes talking about how the audit itself went. We're going to talk about some findings that occurred during the audit. And then I'm not probably going to open the report unless you ask me to, but I'm going to talk about the financial health of the city and some of the things to point to as you're looking at the financial statements. Okay, so to start off, I certainly want to thank Pam and her staff, and I do want to publicly thank Pam for all of her years of service and working with us as auditors. We've had a lot of debate over the years. Most of it's been productive. I've really appreciated the opportunity, Pam, to work with you, and she's obviously done a great job and has worked well with the auditors over the years, and we appreciate that. The audit itself, again, along that line, then went very well. We had an audit plan. We were able to execute the audit plan. We didn't have to veer off of that. We do have one audit finding that I want to bring to your attention. It is an internal control deficiency that came to light during the audit this year, primarily due to the fact that we had increased spending that occurred from the coronavirus grants. Okay, so we had more money coming in, and we had this issue that occurs more frequently than you might expect in a lot of entities, where there is a policy, both an internal policy and a state policy, that if you spend more than $50,000 with a single vendor, you're required to go out and get a bid. Okay, so most of the time, you know, before you start a project, you're going to have this and you go out for bids. But as it creeps up on you in normal spending during the year, you've got to monitor the spending with vendors to determine whether you've gone over 50 and whether that activity needs to go out for a bid process. And so in a sample selection of 7 vendors who qualified, you know, if their spending was over 50 for a bid, 4 of those were not bid. Okay, so we had kind of a significant amount of activity. It wasn't millions of dollars. It was, you know, like, oops, we went to 70 or we went to 80 or something like that. So we have noted that because of the number in the sample, that it is a control deficiency, and in our internal control letter, it says there's a deficiency number 1. City management has put an action plan together of how to improve that, and then we'll follow up next year with it's all fixed, okay? The importance of that is that, especially this year where you had about 1.2 million more in grant funds from coronavirus than we did in 20, is that you don't want to have a situation where there's an actual project going on. I'm gonna give you an example. We had not a local client, but we had a client that used some grant money years back to build an emergency operations center. And then they didn't realize that they hadn't checked their vendor to determine whether they were an approved vendor with the state, you know, whether they were debarred or not. And when we brought it to their attention, they had a little bit of a illness for a minute until they realized that they were. So, but there was a chance that they might have to send their grant money back because they used it for a debarred vendor. In this case, I don't think you're gonna ever get to a situation where you might have to, excuse me, send some of your grant money back, but it is a control deficiency that needs to be corrected, and we're confident that it's probably already corrected. It's something that happens quite often. So that's the only finding that we had in all throughout the audit. You will notice in the report, which meets the weight test, and it is an extremely detailed, very good report. We would expect it to get the award of excellence again this year, as it has for so many years. But you'll see 3 letters from our firm in there. The first, at the front of the report, is our opinion letter on the financial statements, and that is a clean opinion. So you'll see that what they call an unmodified opinion in there. And what that means is that we, the auditors, have audited the report, and what you're about to read is accurate. You don't need to know anything else. And so that's extremely important for an audited financial statement. The 2 letters in the back, the first one I just talked about describes the internal control deficiency. The second one is a report on compliance with federal programs, primarily the coronavirus program, and there are no issues there. It says that from our audit standpoint, they're in complete compliance. Speak a few minutes about financial health of the city. We've spoken about this repeatedly over the years. City of Lake Jackson continues to be in a very good, healthy financial position. In the unassigned fund balance is one of the things we looked at. You've got about 4.5, almost 5 months of expenditures in the general fund. So if everything stopped, nothing was coming in, we could operate off that fund balance for about 4.5 months. And that's before you consider anything that you, the council, have assigned to what's called assigned fund balance. There's another $12 million in assigned fund balance for general construction and other projects that are already defined as assigned. So that's a good position to be in. You're actually in what I call the sweet spot, in that you're not so overfunded that people could argue that we need to lower our taxes. Okay, you're in a really good, planned out, sound financial health position. So that's something that's important. There was no new debt added during the fiscal year. And one of the things we look at, some of the bond people look at from the full accrual financial statements, is all of your liabilities. And you remember a few years back, we had to put the pension liability and the post-employment benefit liability on there. Those have remained fairly constant. And I think that's primarily due to the fact that we, accountants and actuaries, have finally figured out how to do the calculation without having it swing all over the place. It will swing dramatically if interest rates go up. That will cause your liability to go down. So there's things that will affect it. But let me just suffice it to say that there's really nothing else of importance that's an issue or an item, and the city is in sound financial health. I'm happy to answer any questions, especially if you read the report, you want to call me and talk in detail. Love to do that.
Do y'all do any advising of what to do with the money, or y'all just monitoring where the money and all that being?
We are really not financial advisors, not necessarily because of an inexperienced standpoint, but more of an independence standpoint as an auditor.
Okay.
We've got to stay off of that course.
Just
So.
curious. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We need to approve, is that correct?
Yes, we need to approve acceptance. You need to accept the
Okay,
report.
so I need a motion to,
Mr. Mayor, I move for accept our financial report as
Okay.
presented.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just to bring a point that, looking at all the expenditures between 2020 and 2021, I noticed that, our administrative expense has gone down. And so that's a good thing for a city to keep our administrative expenses down so we can provide our citizens the services they deserve, for a better part of money we collect. So just to make that note.
All right, thank you. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Move on to item 3, is authorize city manager to execute a contract with Yellowstone Landscape through Choice Partners Co-op 20-030MR04 for drainage ditch mowing in the amount not to exceed $41,924.
This will be a contract with Yellowstone Landscaping. We used them last year. We use them throughout the city. This will be for 4 times a year. Once we have approved this contract, they can start within 2 weeks. And it will just give us some relief. It's not to do all of our ditches, but it's going to be doing some of our big major ditches. And the main purpose of getting this contract is to give our guys some relief. As you're aware, a lot of times my streets and drainage guys are pulled into sanitation, which means nobody's getting to that mowing, which means it gets ahead of us a lot. So this is an attempt to head some of that off. With that 4 times a year, it's going to be every couple of months. So Raul's crew will be able to assist them on some of these things, and hopefully we will keep all these ditches mowed up in a much more timely fashion than we were unfortunately able to do last year.
Those are the guys in the ditches with weed eaters.
That's the guys in the ditches with weed eaters, yes, sir.
And are the ditches that they're contracted to do, are they set in stone, or if something comes up, can they be redirected?
No, these, as per the contract, because of the linear footage and what's into them,
Set.
I won't say they're set in stone per se, but they're pretty much the ones that we want to focus on. If something comes up and we say, oh, we can really do this, we can talk to them about maybe moving, as long as we're keeping our linear footage a little bit better. But I'd prefer not to have to move anything if I didn't have to.
Yeah, and we had mentioned this during the summer, this was gonna be our strategy. These are not, they're not budgeted in a line item. And so we were monitoring our service maintenance fund, which, pays for, the labor, and light equipment operators who do, most of the mowing in the ditches. And we have about 90,000 of savings so far at the half year point. And so we're taking those savings and, we're still staying in the general fund and using those savings to help us, pay for this mowing, to cover this mowing. So we, like Sabrina said, we don't get, behind like we did last year. So it's part of our strategy to do this. We were hoping that we didn't have any savings and we were fully staffed, but that just hasn't been a reality.
Right. Any questions? Any questions for anybody? All right, thank you. Take a motion on this item.
Make a motion to authorize city manager to execute a contract with Yellowstone Landscape through Choice Partners Coop for drainage ditch mowing in an amount not to exceed $41,924.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right, we're gonna update on new business coming to the city. All right, oh, wow.
Double dipping
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
You got me tonight. Apologies, David had a sick child, and so he needed to go home. So let's try to muddle through this here. I found this out at the last minute. New applicants that we have received in, we have the Marco's Pizza that will be at 101 Winding Way. We have the Next Gen MMA, which is also 101 Winding Way. Those are some of the different suites. And then we have Grazia's Italian Kitchen. That has already started doing some of the interior demo. We're still in the kind of a review phase, but David has talked to them and he is comfortable with them starting the interior demo on that. ongoing permits, any changes here. Next level urgent care 101 Winding Way Suite A is waiting for final inspections. The Villa Apartments, I know everybody has a lot of questions about that, 128 West Plantation. They have started framing. You might have gone by there and seen a very large lumber shipment that has arrived. So they've started some framing on that. Let's see, Christian Brothers is ready for, to finals. Everything else underneath here is pretty much in the beginning phases. Getting the permits issued, just starting up things. There's really no major progress or anything to go with those. We are waiting for revisions for McAllister's Deli. Still waiting on some of that. And the ongoing plan review, we have Lakewood Manor where we're waiting for some building plans. Harmony Park where we're waiting for some building plans. The BVVA new building is on hold by the owner, and then, as stated, Villa Apartments has started doing some framing.
Okay. Lakewood Manor, as far as they're waiting for building plans, are they changing any designs, or is it? Just-
No, they just, they have to submit their building plans to the building department, but no, we've not heard anything of
No.
Okay.
any site plan changes.
Is that the guys on Wasatch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's
I
we
drove
said.
down that street today and heavy equipment was moving trees and dirt and all kind of stuff to do.
Yeah, they've started some site work.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. When did they start?
probably
been at least a
probably
Yeah.
10 days ago.
Yeah.
Sal probably knows specifically. Eddie, the engineering department, the site plan and utilities usually starts with engineering, and of course, the building department does reviews all the building plans.
They've done some work.
They're taking down all those big trees.
They
Yeah.
did a review of those trees and.
Yeah, we
a
did
lot of
have
them-
we did have we did receive a complaint on that. The only thing that I can note is that the plan was reviewed by the planning commission. There was an arborist involved, so there were a lot of trees that were not in, great shape. And also, I think there's a mistaken, belief that, we protect every tree. We try to protect trees that are not in the building plan, in a building footprint. But if there's, if you're building a building and there's a tree right in the middle, that can be removed. We can't, prohibit that. So a lot of times what we try to do is we try to work with, the developer. If the roadway or parking lot can move around and negotiate around a tree, that's where the planning commission has flexibility. But if there's a building slated for that, we can't prohibit from that tree coming down.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to city manager's updates.
The only update that, really, I guess I'm speaking more to the audience than to the city council, is the election day, upcoming, May 7th. We have the charter review items on there. Most are cleanup items. We'll be getting out some social media posts, on that. And then we have the sale of parkland at Timber Creek. And then we have our council seats. I can't remember what positions.
2, 4, and May, 2, 4, 2,
All
and
even.
4, and then.
2, 4, and the mayor's seat that will be up. And so election, early voting is April 25th to May 3rd, and it is at the county annex and Peach Street. So just make sure that no one comes to the Civic Center, and we'll try to get that message out again.
Do we know if Judge Brown's going to provide his courtroom for elections or not?
I have not heard anything on
I don't know, Sally will check that out for us.
He moved it the last election after
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
he moved it to a bigger place last
Oh, okay,
election.
yeah.
moved it
the
to his
He's
last
aware
courtroom.
of, he said something at BCCA the other night
Okay.
that it would.
We'll check and let you know.
Okay, well, it'll still be in the same building, it just may be
Yes.
in his courtroom instead of the closet. All right,
Yeah, Claude
the
Bruce.
broom closet.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to item 6, which is construction updates.
The projects that we have ongoing right primarily is the downtown project, which is progressing at a nice pace. The contractor's been here every day, and whatever weather comes through, they are always trying to work within it. They maintain a very good, clean work area, and you can attest by that whenever you go through there. They have started working now on the the major drainage, and they have started up in the what amounts to be the old new area, which is right there about the old Smith Arts place. They've started to put in the main drain right in the middle of the road that's going to be draining this whole new face. So we anticipate that they're going to be closing one of the lanes, one of the streets, in order to do this, and they're going to be doing just really they're going to compartmentalize that construction so that they don't go too far and disrupt the whole traffic flow. So they're going to stay within a certain segments of that particular area, but they are going to be closing streets. We're going to be routing around those areas as best we can. We have a plan already set up, approved by the engineer. We approved it first. We had to have second opinion on that. So you'll still be hearing from people, though. They're going to be inconvenienced, just like everything else. But we'll try to do our darnest to move them through. They have finished most of the, and you saw some of the new meters that they are putting in into the new water connections down around North Parking Place. In North Parking Place, the actual facade work is kind of at a standstill, waiting for these people to get all out of their work area, so they can go out there and complete that final push on the canopy area. But they're progressing well. They know what they need to do, and it's just a matter of going through the motions on that one.
Would you say that we're on schedule, or?
Well, I believe we are on schedule. Correct. We're on schedule, and I'm very impressed by the way they are operating. I don't have anything yet to complain about with these people.
What's the name of the contract? I keep on getting asked all the time.
MC Square Mainland.
Oh, that's right. I remember seeing their trucks now.
Yeah, correct.
They done work with us before?
No, sir. No, they have not. No, they were unknown, but they were vetted out very properly, and we don't have anything to say about that. We're still debating. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have with the engineers, sort of the first meeting after the startup of the work, trying to get everything back, everyone in the same, in the same agenda, and giving a report on what changes have occurred. We're in the process of adding some extra work orders that weren't originally planned, but we had surprises, and now we're into that stage of the game, which is the drainage. We're going to have to enact some change orders, and we need to get everyone together in everyone to be in agreement.
The drainage infrastructure we're putting in, are we going larger, same size, or?
It's larger, and Mr. Sanchez here will give you his word that'll all work properly.
That'll be the driest place in town.
It'll be the driest place in town. No, we're putting, you saw all those boxes, all those
Right.
reinforced concrete boxes. We don't have anything underneath right now. So, there's quite an improvement on the underground. So we shouldn't have any problem there. So once they start doing the underground, then that one, once it goes in there, then the actual pavement starts, work starts. Right now we're debating with our design engineer, trying to get a better handle on that on the art work that is going to be going in there. We're not satisfied with that particular this particular artwork, so we're going to be questioning the engineer, trying to find out whether there can be better materials used that don't create so much rust. So we will be coming back to probably the city manager and the assistant city manager to, give us their opinion on the matter. And on the other projects, well, we'll still proceeding with our own projects. The geotechnical work for the dog pound or the dog shelter has been performed. Now we're waiting on the engineer to provide the report that's going to be provided to the design architect and the engineer. Am I getting into your side of things?
Good. You're good.
Okay. There are the engineers that were recommended by the architect have been passed over to Megan, and we have all bought out on that on those things. There was one that was lacking, which was the structural. The structural, correct. The mechanical engineer has been chosen. The civil has been chosen. And the civil is Angleton. Yeah, it's Doug Raisler. And we're still, and the lift station associated with that one, that was somewhat forgotten or omitted during our discussions, has been included as part of his scope of work. So that is going into his side of things there. So, you have a meeting with them, Megan?
Yes, sir.
When is that?
Week or two.
A week or two?
End of
Okay.
April, I think.
Okay. I think that's when we finally give blessings on all those engineers there. And the work on the street project, which is the Shady Oaks, North Shady Oaks project there. They've gotten all their field work gathered up. Now they are into the drawing side of things, trying to start the design for that particular project. So that's in line, and so I believe that's the extent of our projects.
Quick question on the streets. The last, we had, I think it was the last street project we did, we were in an area for a long period of time. And is this going to be the same type of situation, or we're going to be moving around a little bit?
In this particular case, one of the saving graces, if you want to call it that, is the fact that there's not that much utility nor drainage work involved.
Okay.
Most of it's surface drainage. So therefore, we don't anticipate that much of a problem associated with those items, because those are the ones those are the first ones that go in, and the ones that take the longest to get out. So I don't anticipate that work happening. That same thing happening.
And on the mixing tank, have we identified all the subcontractors that we're going to be using, or?
Yes, so from the last discussion we had, we were still waiting on the electrical, which in reality is going to be doing the lion's share of the work here, because they are also going to be installing the mixers.
Oh.
So they're going to be more or less doing a turnkey type of an operation. We are buying the mixers separately, and all those items. So, I think it's going well. The responsee for that work on the electrical, is one that I wasn't familiar with. But once we start talking to him, I believe he's going to be a good one and somebody to be able to use in future work.
Okay. Any other questions for Sal? All right, thank you. Megan, do you have anything to add?
No, nothing major. Downtown is going pretty well. We did have the hiccup this past weekend that you guys are aware of with us hitting a gas line. They handled that very well, the contractor and Sal's team. I don't think we had anyone shut off for more than a couple of hours, so it only impacted 3 or 4 businesses. So thankfully, they moved quick, and CenterPoint got to us quickly. We also, the library flooring is going into place right now. The construction crew over there is doing an amazing job. The library staff is super happy. They're still able to actually run out of the library right now. The contractor was able to work in certain spaces so that the librarians could still facilitate curbside pickup and different things, checking books back in, that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that for as long as we can until it gets to the point where they have to move out, especially when it's going to get loud in there. So that is going really well. Grace with the Brazosport Library Circuit has told me they're doing phenomenal. So we're very happy with them. The animal shelter animal control facility is going well. We had our design meeting last week, and then in the coming weeks we'll be finalizing all of that materials and all that fun stuff, me and Chief Kibido. So let's hope it looks pretty between the two of us. That's all I have, sir.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Update on some of our projects. The dehumidification system for the natatorium. The plans are completed. We're going to try to set up a meeting this week with the engineers to have our on-site meeting to go over everything to get ready for that. So get the bid package together. So hopefully within the next couple weeks, that's going to be done. The roof, they actually started on the natatorium roof, and they're about halfway done with that now. So they've really gotten after it. They're still waiting on materials for the metal front roof. So I don't know. He's like, he keeps hearing every 2 weeks. So we'll see when that material comes. I know they're ready to get that job done. So I look for it to be done fairly soon, as long as we can get materials in. We poured the sidewalk to the Garland tennis court, so I need to get y'all a picture of that. That got completed. I'm sorry I was off last week when they took all this stuff off, but it looks really good. So that's one part of it. When we add the restrooms and the playground stuff, there'll be other sidewalks that go to that. But we were able to get that to the tennis court. So the tennis court section of that park is already done. And we did our dedication of the Little League complex to Harry Blevins 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to get my days together. I've been off, sorry. And it was really well. I just got a note when I was leaving. I checked my mailbox, and the family sent a thank you note. They were just so pleased and happy of the sign. It's just gorgeous. If you haven't been by, it really is a beautiful sign. The black on there and stuff, it just really makes it pop. But they were so excited to have that done. So it was a good day. So that's all I got, unless y'all have questions.
All right. Thank you. All right. We'll go on to items of community interest. We'll start with Mr. Baker. John, you have anything?
None at this time.
Okay. Nothing? Mr. Buell? Benay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Broadus, nothing? Okay, just a reminder is this weekend, April the 9th, Saturday, is the Dairy Bar celebration of its many years in operation. And that's at the Lake Jackson Historical Museum. It starts at 11 o'clock, so the public is invited to participate and attend.
You say 11 o'clock Saturday?
Yep. Can't remember when it ends, but it goes through lunch.
At the
2, I think, 11 to 2 maybe. Yep. Yep. So they have a lot of things going on there for that. And I think that's it. Do you have anything? Desto, staff?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. We're going to move into executive session. We're going to go into executive session to discuss, do I have to gavel out, I guess?